What's going on, guys? I have the base M4 MacBook Pro. I also have the M4 Pro, the M3 Pro, and the M4 Max, and an M1 Pro lying around somewhere. But I want to focus my attention on this guy here, the base M4, since that's what I've been using the most. It's also one that's most accessible to people without spending a month's worth of rent in an average downtown city nowadays. I understand I could get a quote-unquote review out, which is basically just benchmarks, but newsflash, the M4 series is better than M3 across the board. You don't need a tech reviewer to tell you that. And yes, the M4 Pro is better than the M1 Pro, the M2 Pro, the M3 Pro. The M4 Max is better than the M1 Max, M2 Max, and the M3 Max. What I do need to tell you are the people that are keeping these lights on, which is our sponsor. Nobody. Now, if you didn't catch it at the beginning of the video, I actually said that this is the base M4, but this is actually the base M4. But maybe it's this one. And this is pretty much just a reality check that you probably are going to have a hard time telling the difference between all the way back to M1 up until now because the changes have been slight, but there are changes. You watch this channel because you want to hear the experiences in everyday use, then I'll get it out the way so I don't waste your time. M2 and above users, just ignore M4. The only people that should be considering this product are maybe, and I do want to stress maybe, are M1 folks and people still using Intel-based MacBook Pros. Drop a like if you enjoyed my conclusion up front. I'd appreciate the watch time or sharing the video with others. Now, to get into my everyday use. Longtime viewers of the channel already know this, but I'm a person who's coming from the M1 MacBook Air as my main laptop, and I use Final Cut Pro for video editing, Pixelmator Pro, which is basically Lightroom, Photoshop, and Illustrator, all in one app with one-time payment. That just got purchased by Apple. Got to put that out there. I also do general development work, a lot of it being using Docker, and then I have tons, and I mean tons of tabs open because of AWS. That's kind of just how it works. I also do everyday stuff like watching YouTube videos, checking emails, asking ChatGPT how much longer till 100K subs, and spinning my laptop around like it's some toy. But I want to talk about how M4 compared to previous generations, how they've made slight improvements year over year, making the user experience better. There is Thunderbolt all the way around. Yes, all the way around because they finally added Thunderbolt port on the right-hand side of the entry-level MacBook Pro. HDMI 2.1 and an SD card slot, and then MagSafe on the other side with additional 2 Thunderbolt ports. Personally, I don't use MagSafe, not because it's bad or anything, but because I really don't see the need of it when USB-C is more universal and more common, and it's the cable I have lying around the most. I also don't have little kids or pets, so I don't really feel the need that I need to have MagSafe to prevent my laptop from being flung across the room or something. I'd probably only consider using MagSafe in public. That's about it. I have no complaints with the screen at all, especially coming from the MacBook Air. Yes, it's almost 1 a.m. and I'm still recording. That's how dedicated I am to getting this video out. So this screen is amazing. If you have not used a MacBook Pro, the redesign that came out in 2021, you are going to be impressed coming to this MacBook Pro. This year around, Apple does offer some nano texture coating, which still has a pretty nice gloss finish to it, but it's a fancy way of saying anti-glare. I've personally never really had any issues with glare on the MacBook, and if I do, I kind of just crank up the brightness. The other thing that's new this year is that SDR brightness goes up to 1000 nits. HDR is still capped at 1600. I've never had the feeling of not having nano texture coating, but it might be one of those things where I don't know what I'm missing until I try it. Just my 2 cents. Although my advice is if you're having glare, just move the angle of your laptop or your body. There, I just saved you 150 bucks. Now, at this price point, Windows laptops are shipping with OLED, which in many cases is objectively better, but likely less profit margins for the company. So I can see why Apple decided to go with mini LEDs. Tech enthusiasts can tell the difference between OLED, mini LED, but for regular consumers and probably most people watching this video, on a laptop screen, this is just as good as OLED. The blacks are black, the colors are vibrant. Watching any content looks incredible, and I say this all the time. Unless you're using a TV from the past 2 years, your MacBook screen is going to be your new TV for watching stuff. It's that good. The 16-inch people know what I'm talking about. Forgot to mention that there's ProMotion, still a thing, so 120 hertz display. It's super smooth. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just spin in a circle really fast. That's how smooth your mouse is going to be moving when using these Pro models. Last thing about the display, because I know people want me to move on, like, come on, you're still talking about the screen, but the laptop screen is what you look at the most, so that's why I'm spending the most time on this. But you know what I'm not paying attention to when using these laptops? It's the notch. It might seem obvious in photos and videos, but trust me, we're smart. Our brains are pretty smart. In like 30 seconds, the notch kind of just fades away into the background. All right, some things that are actually worth talking about is part of the notch. It's the camera. We now have the inclusion of center stage, so if you move around when on a call or FaceTime, the camera can track you. So if you want to prop your laptop somewhere and talk on a call, you don't have to worry about constantly moving your laptop, which I would say is a major plus. All right, so I have a pretty good lighting here. I have my studio light, so you guys let me know how the microphone sounds and how the camera looks. I do have center stage on, so if I move over here, the camera's gonna follow me. If I move over here, camera's gonna follow me. If I go down a bit, camera's gonna follow me. So my laptop is stationary, but the camera is still able to move around in a pretty natural way, I would say. The microphones on MacBooks, I would say, are exceptional, super clear. People always think that I have some type of external mic, but what the heck is that? But the microphones in MacBooks are phenomenal. But let me go ahead and turn off the light real quick so you can see how it looks like in a bit of a darker low light situation. All right, so this is a bit of a darker low light situation, so you guys can definitely tell that it's a bit more grainy, but you can still make out that, you know, I'm a human being. I don't know why it's like slowly panning into my face. It's kind of weird, Apple. But as you can see, center stage is still working, no problem. I'm pretty off axis and it's still able to capture me. So if you want to keep your laptop stationary, do this. And I pray to God that I was recording this because it would suck if I wasn't. Why did it just zoom in on me like that? That's so crazy. Now, there's still no Face ID, unfortunately, but Touch ID sensor is phenomenal. If you are buying a laptop this expensive, chances are you probably have an Apple Watch, so just unlock the laptop with your Apple Watch anyway. Now, in this review, I'm not going to talk about benchmarks and stuff. That will be in a future video in like comparisons and such. Here's what I'll say when the M1 first came out. And it's that Apple did a good job 4 years ago, and I really don't think people realized the impact Apple made with M1, even all the way up to the Ultra. What I mean is, as a person who has used M1, M2, M3, M4, if you were to put an M1 Pro MacBook in front of me and an M4 MacBook Pro next to it and told me to edit in Final Cut Pro, possibly throw in CapCut and DaVinci in there, I couldn't tell you the difference between both those laptops other than rendering. If you're doing stabilization or analyzing an object for tracking, sure, the M4 is probably faster, but it doesn't feel that much faster, only when I go to render and I'm like, huh, that's faster than last generation, but it's not like a substantial speed difference. Even when working in Pixelmator Pro and messing around with photos and creating thumbnails, there's not a gut reaction that's saying, oh wow, this performance is crazy fast compared to last generation. I only got that when coming from an Intel-based MacBook, not really even coming from the M1 MacBook Air. The big push this year is Apple Intelligence and all these new AI features, which are great, but I don't care for them too much. And newsflash, all these Apple Intelligent features go all the way back to M1. Just like with most things, the shiny new laptop or computer feels faster, and it probably is faster. Of course, it feels snappier. But if you watch one or two videos on YouTube, side-by-side comparisons of, let's say, M4 and M3, you'll notice a speed difference, and eventually it'll be flooded on your feed, and next thing you know, you've watched about 20 of these comparison videos and still haven't made a choice. So I ask you, what are you doing? I'm a value guy, and I say this again for the 4th year in a row. The M1 MacBook Pro is still a fantastic machine, even the M1 Air. But if you have the opportunity to grab M3, M2, or even this M4, get it without a second thought. The story is a bit different when we talk about this guy here, the Mac Mini, because this is a crazy machine. In the laptop space, it's a little bit more of an even playing field to some degree, but this is why I was so excited about Apple Silicon when it first dropped 4 years ago.
How? Bro, How? Seriously? This is not normal. Intel, pack your bags. Pack your bags, Intel. You're done. You're done. You're done for the year.
These machines are aging like fine wine. I know nothing about wine other than that phrase, but there's no feeling of me wanting to sell this to buy a new MacBook. The only real reason I'd upgrade from this Air is probably just for the extra ports and the better screen. The extra performance and all those other bells and whistles are just icing on the cake. Sure, my videos render faster, but within editing of the timeline, it feels pretty much the same. Sure, my compile time will be slightly lower, but switching between 6 different Visual Studio codes are pretty much the same. Apple just did too good of a job, and if you're still on an Intel Mac, this might be the best MacBook Pro iteration I've ever used. The extra port on the side and the optimization M4 is just, overall, there's no better MacBook to buy. My advice is this, because if you're on an Intel Mac, I hate to say it, you probably aren't going to get a lot of money out of it, even though you probably paid thousands of dollars for it. I'd say keep it, recycle it, gift it to another person, but there really is no reason to hold out anymore. These laptops are virtually silent, overall better build quality, battery life can actually last you an entire day, and it still feels like an Intel Mac physically, so it's not like you're going to a new foreign object or foreign laptop that you have to like relearn everything. It's kind of the beauty of being in the Apple ecosystem. I want to talk about battery life real quick because yes, like I said before, the battery can last you all day, but if I'm working in Final Cut or Pixelmator Pro for extended periods of time, by the time I hit render or if I'm towards the end of my final cuts, so corny, the battery is probably hitting that 20% point where I'll need to charge, but it has fast charging, so it's not like I'm waiting for a long time for it to get back to 80% or even 100%. I'll say this, if 90% of the stuff you do is in the browser, like using Google Docs, using Google Sheets, ChatGPT, Figma, checking your bank account, refreshing Instagram or TikTok, or anything that starts with www at the beginning, it's gonna last you all day. And if you don't believe me, you can turn on low battery mode and it'll last all day. Trust me. I think Gen Alpha will say something like, you'll be shooketh by the results. That's the last time I'm gonna say something like that. Or maybe I'm the only one that's saying that. Gen nobody. I'll wrap the video up by saying if money is an issue, you can get a refurbished or used M3 MacBook Pro, or you can get a refurbished or used M2 MacBook Pro or refurbished or used M1 MacBook Pro. You can even, elect to get the Pro chips. But if you want the latest and greatest MacBook Pro, dare I say one of the best laptops until the MacBook Air gets M4 or even M5, Apple has you covered with the base MacBook Pro entry-level model. Just be careful. You're only allowed to get one upgrade on this channel. Whether you want to get more storage or more RAM, I always recommend more RAM. But regardless of the option you pick, just don't upgrade both the storage and RAM because at that price point, just get the better deal and grab the M4 Pro at that $2,000 price point. That chip is a beast. Trust me, the Pro chips are just on another level. That's when you can upgrade to your heart's content. You're at $2,000, do whatever you want. But on entry-level stuff, one upgrade, that's it. Use my affiliate links down below if you end up shopping in the holiday season. Unfortunately, I don't have Apple affiliate links. So if you want to get more of a customized choice, go on Apple's website. Otherwise, use my affiliate links down below. Look forward to sharing benchmark numbers with you in later videos. Appreciate every single sub, like, and comment. As always, guys, much love. Let me know if you found this video informative or if you really do just care about benchmarks and that's it. Wait, where's the Pro? Where is the Pro? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, what the heck?